I'm going to call the South Carolina Department of Disabilities and Special Needs meeting to order. This is the September 15th, 2022 meeting. It is a little bit after 10. We have all of our commissioners present except for Commissioner Thomas. He is on the way. I think he was having a little bit of car trouble, but Commissioner Michelle Woodhead is online today. She's traveling. So let's have the notice of meeting statement from Commissioner Blackwood.
Okay. The meeting notice announcing the date, time, and place of the September 15th, 2022 Commission meeting was distributed September 14th, 2022 to appropriate media and other groups or individuals who have requested notification. The announcement and agenda were posted at the Department of Disabilities and Special Needs Central Administrative Office and on the website. In accordance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, the public has been notified that accommodations such as interpreters, mobility assistants, or other assistance will be provided to individuals with disabilities and special needs if requested in advance.
I just want to welcome you all today and thank you for coming. Those of you who are visiting with us, we appreciate it. And those of you who are online, we appreciate your input. We appreciate your time. We hope that today will run smoothly. And I appreciate those of you who've been supporting me in the last month as I recovered from my emergency surgery. I'm feeling much better. I'm glad to be back at DDSN. I missed you all last month. And I appreciate Commissioner Malfors filling in last month. He did
Thank you, ma'am. It was my pleasure.
an exceptional job, and I appreciate it, especially at last minute like it was. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate it. Let's begin by looking at the agenda. I know that we need to make one amendment at the chairman's pleasure. I need to add an executive session to talk with you all about a personnel issue. And so we're going to need to go in executive session to discuss that. But we also have a special visitor with us today. It's the Hayworth family, and they're from Fountain Inn, and their son is with them. And I would like to ask permission to move the public speaking portion of this meeting to immediately following this vote. Do I have a motion for that? I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries, and we will have public input now. And I think Miss Hannah Hayworth is in Wilson are going to come in and speak with us, and we look forward to having you. You do have 3 minutes. Would someone set a timer, please?
I got it.
Thank you. Are you ready? We'll start it when you get to the podium.
Yeah, you just come right up here.
Hey.
Thanks, everybody, for having me this time.
Sure.
This is my son, Willie. And this is my son, my husband, Wilson.
Say his name again.
My husband, Wilson, and my son, Willie.
Willie. Okay.
And
Good to see you.
I've had a prepared speech, like multiple prepared speeches, but I thought I would just speak. We're in a critical place in our family. Our family is falling apart. And it's really, Willie has just become an emotional and physical strain on us. Physically, he outweighs me. And if I could just give you, try to give you really quick image of our mornings. He is incontinent and nonverbal, and changing his diapers, he often has 2 to 3, sometimes 4 bowel movements a day. That's one of the messiest and most unsanitary things that we deal with. His room is a nightmare. He breaks all of his beds. His carpet is really covered in urine and feces. And it's not because I don't keep a clean house. We've been denied placement from everywhere in South Carolina, and now we are looking outside of South Carolina. And I get my hopes up every time I hear that there might be a new place, but I'm losing hope. I'm losing hope, and I am emotionally and physically not well, and it's wearing on my husband, who works a full-time job. Willie is more than a full-time job for one person. He has a 2-person full-time job. I have 3 other children. My oldest daughter's 20. Just recently, he attacked her when she was sleeping on the sofa, and it ended up in an emergency room visit. I sent back to his case managers. I try to keep everything on file. I have a 12-year-old son and a 10-year-old son who don't like to be in the same room with him. So when my 10-year-old comes in the house, if Willie is downstairs, he goes upstairs and shuts himself in the room. And we cannot go on, and I'm sorry for being so emotional. We cannot go on trips together. My husband took my boys camping this summer, and I love to camp. And, you know, I was so happy for them to get to go, but it hurt me to not be with them. And this is what, this is our life. I don't know anything different. So when he is placed, I imagine that we're gonna have to relearn how to live. And so I'm praying that being here today will help somehow. And I want you to know that I'm not just thinking about myself, but I'm also thinking about other families who struggle with the same thing. With a Willie, whatever their names might be, and the hardships that it creates on their siblings and their relationships.
Just 1 minute, hold on for a minute. Commissioners, she has reached her 3-minute time limit. Would you all like for her to continue? I need a consensus from you all as to what you would like to happen.
They continue.
Commissioners?
So moved as she continues for 3 more minutes.
Second.
Okay, you have 3 more minutes.
If you
May my
want.
husband speak for a minute?
Certainly,
I would
yeah.
like you to hear his voice, and maybe I'll take Willie out so that he can be a little more calm when he talks to you, because this is what Willie does to me. I mean, as soon as he comes through the door, I start shaking. And, okay, thank you all.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming.
I don't know. I'll just stay outside with him, and it's so nice to meet you all. Thank you all so much for your kindness.
We will do what we can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wasn't sure. We'll get the call.
Hi, Wilson. How are you?
Thank you.
Huh.
It is. My job, I'm required to travel. And Willie grew up a lot. And don't normally get emotional, but when I hear my wife like that, we're just asking for some help. He has an inoperable brain tumor. That's what has caused all of this. There's a lot of concern that we hear back from placement locations that we can't take him unless it's in remission. Well, it's been in remission, but it just never allowed him to develop mentally. And he's a good kid. He doesn't understand. When he lashes out, it's because he's upset. And I'm not sure, because we were told very early in this process, you really needed to let people know that he can be violent. And I think maybe that has prohibited him from being in some places. He's not really, you don't know when it's going to happen. It's 15, 20 seconds, and it may be once a week. Same as the seizures. I mean, when he was 4, he was having 40 to 50 seizures a day. And they didn't think he would live. So what we're trying to do is find the best place for him, because we can't do it anymore.
How old is he, if you don't mind me asking?
He'll be 18 next month.
You all have had him all the time.
Yes, I take him for many years, every 6 months, to the Cincinnati Children's Hospital that has a clinic specific to his condition. We've taken him to Ohio State. We've had him at 3 hospitals in Charlotte. Bowman Gray Medical was where he was first diagnosed. And medically, he's in the best hands we can get. I'm not sure that there is anyone more qualified to treat him. But, you know, this is once every 6 months or once a year, and adjusting medication. Sometimes the tumor starts to grow, so we have to give him a little extra chemo every day.
Hold on. Commissioners, we're at 3 minutes.
I move that we do two more, but we can't just keep going.
Yeah, give us two more, big
And,
fine.
and I'll keep it short. I mean, the first doctor that saw him happened to be the person that's led all the research for his condition.
What is this condition called?
He has tuberous sclerosis. Is maybe 1 in 100,000 people have it. Most of it looks like a skin lesion. Looks like no color, but it looks like a birthmark. With him, it's on his brain. And that's what has attacked the neurosensors, and that's what causes his seizures.
So your case manager knows all about this, and you're trying to find placement in South Carolina, and they can't give you anywhere. Is that what you're saying?
We have been turned down from every place in South Carolina that we're aware of. I guess it was 2 weeks ago, we got a notification that he had been granted permission to go outside the state, because I know that, his Medicaid is administered through the state. We're working with a group, I think the gentleman's out of Tennessee, and he covers West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee, and Georgia. And from what I understand, the list of all of those has now been done, that he's looked into. Hannah could tell you.
So you're looking at a state, okay.
We are gonna definitely have our staff look into this, and they will talk with you and your wife soon, okay? Thank you so much.
Let's know something.
What is his name again?
His name is Wilson Hayward Jr. He goes by Willie.
Yeah, that'd be good if you can finish up.
Your wife just asked it.
Yeah. he's-
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much.
Thank you for that.
Really
appreciate you
appreciate all you're
coming.
doing. I know it's,
Thank you.
thank you for coming today.
All right, thank you, commissioners. I appreciate you working with us. We had one other person sign up. I just want to make sure that person is not here. They signed up online. It's Melissa Algram. No one? Okay, well, that was our only other public speaking, so we can skip that part on the agenda. Let's go back to the agenda. Commissioner Miller, will you open us in prayer, if you don't mind, invocation?
Our Father in heaven, we come now, not in the natural sense, but in the spiritual sense, asking you now to look into Wilson Hayward Jr.'s situation and give us the guidance and direction as to which way you see is best for him. Nothing is impossible when we come to you in your name and for your name's sake. Bless this commission, guide us, and keep us in your care. In Jesus' name we pray. I pray, man, pray this commission, pray. Amen.
Commissioners, did we add, I did add the executive session at the end, didn't I?
You
I just
did
wanna
add
make
it. I don't
sure
know that we did.
We vote?
Yeah.
We didn't
Okay.
vote separately, we voted together. on
Together,
the same
on both of them.
motion.
Okay, I just want to make sure I couldn't
It
remember.
just needs to be reflected that we voted together.
For
The
both of
public
those.
For both
input-
motions.
For public input to be moved up in the
Yes.
agenda and to add an
And to
executive
add,
session.
because it was both agenda related, so
Yeah.
that just needs to be.
I just want to, make sure that's clarified in the minutes, if you don't mind. All right, the minutes have been provided to you on tab 2 in your book from the last meeting. If we would look for a motion to approve the minutes as written.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. The minutes are approved from our last meeting. Next, we're moving to our commissioners update. We'll start with Commissioner Woodhead, who's on the phone. Commissioner Woodhead?
Yeah, hello, everyone. I wanted to just point out that this month is Spinal Cord Awareness Month, and I am wearing my pin that I got from the South Carolina Spinal Cord Association. As you guys know, my daughter suffered a spinal cord injury 4 years ago now, so just want to advocate for this month, and also want to thank Dr. Fry and Nancy for meeting with me this month as well, going over a few things to learn more about DDSN. So thank you, everyone.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
That's
I
right.
didn't know we were seeing you, but I see you
Thank
now.
you. I know.
All right, let's go to Commissioner Miller.
I'm also wearing my pin.
I see
I
you.
was pinned up this morning by an employee.
Great.
I don't even remember her name, but it was a good thing. And I also, on my wife's personal page, we have been on a Facebook page. We have been promoting the spinal cord injury. And I have noticed that PJ has been tagging us right along. So we thank you. Great job.
Commissioner Malfris.
I just wanted, I'm sure this will come up before the meeting is over again, but I wanted to be the one to say that I'm looking forward to going, our meeting going to Charleston this next month. And I would like to publicly give an invitation to Mr. Jim Kilgallen to come to our meeting if he would. He does a great job with employing people with disabilities in our Charleston regional, day program, and I would love to have an opportunity. I've met him before, and I'd love to have an opportunity to see him again there if he would come. And whoever else, of course, that would like to come as well. Of course, it's a public meeting for whoever would like to be there, and we are thankful to be in that area next month.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Commissioner Thomas.
This month, on the 24th, Saturday, I received an invitation to go to a Pickens County Board of Disabilities and Special Needs. I'm going to go to that, and I really do appreciate them reaching out to me, and they're serving food, which enhances the visit even more. Barbecue, as a matter of fact. So any of the commissioners that would like to go with me, give me a call if you want to take a trip to Easley for that board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Carr.
I will pass.
Okay. Mr. Blackwood.
Yeah, I just have one thing. I attended Anderson County's DDSN board, a community event called Celebrating Abilities. And it was the first time they've done a community event like that. And it was well attended, and I met a lot of great people there, and really had a nice afternoon, and was glad to see such a strong support of the board there with that event and something in the community. So, so more people can learn about what they do. So it was great. So I think that's all I have.
I just want to thank the spinal cord folks here at DDSN. I love my new green pen and my pen and all of our stuff. So we look forward to hearing about you all today. And I also wanted to address something, and this is something that kind of, y'all need to understand. I need everybody online to understand. When we are sent anonymous emails, we can't respond to you. So if we have, even if you ask us questions or ask us to look into something, we can't tell you that we've done it if you send it to us anonymously. So if you would, if you do send something, I ask you to put your name on it, just so that I can respond to you. I'll keep it confidential, but I've got to be able to communicate. But one of the questions that was asked in one of my anonymous emails that I get every month was, why are the minutes for the meetings not published immediately following the meeting? And I wanted to just explain this a process. Before minutes are posted on our website, they actually have to be approved by the commission the next month. So when we have a meeting, they take the minutes, they send them to us, we look over them for the month, and then like this month, we approved last month's minutes. So this last month's minutes will go up immediately following this month. Just so that you guys understand the process, I just wanted to make sure that was clear to the people watching how that was done. So that was my little update for today. And we finished our public input. So we're going to move right into programs and services. Our first is Melissa Ritter with the Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month. Hey, Melissa, good to see you. You guys are doing a great job.
Thanks, good to see you as well. So as you've all heard, this is a Spinal Cord Injury Awareness Month. I want to share a little bit about what we've been doing at DDSN. So our focus this year has been on safe sports. According to the National Spinal Cord Injury Statistical Center, sports are the 4th leading cause of spinal cord injury. In 2015, about 8.4% of spinal cord injuries were caused by sports and recreation. So some of the sports that we've been focusing on this month are diving, horseback riding, bicycling, and winter sports. Those are some of the leading causes of spinal cord injury that are sports related. We've been sending out some weekly prevention tips. And in that same vein, we serve an individual, Blakely Martin, who is a South Carolina artist who has a spinal cord injury that he incurred as a result of a diving accident when he was 17 years old. And he is a magnificent artist. He was unable to be here today, unfortunately, but I urge you to go downstairs right outside of the elevators and look at a wall of his artwork that he has allowed us to put up this month and see some of the amazing work that he's done. He did not recognize his artistic abilities until after his spinal cord injury. He paints using a paintbrush in his mouth, and he actually paints with the canvas upside down. But if you could just go down there and take a look at just some of the amazing things he's able to do, I would love for you to see.
Canvas upside down.
Yeah. He has a little contraption that he's created that allows him to turn it upside down, and he kind of flips it as he paints. So it's really amazing. We've also been focusing on some other individuals across the nation who are like Blakely and have sustained a spinal cord injury and have just not allowed that to limit their potential. So we've been sending out emails to the staff this month about that. Also, we had a Sweets for Spinal Cords bake sale earlier this month, and people at DDSN apparently really love sweets because we made $656 in one day selling sweets, and we donated all the proceeds to the South Carolina Spinal Cord Injury Association. Also, you have posters that are by your chairs. We have been participating in the Spinal Cord Injury Association's Selfie Challenge. So we have put up posters across the area, and we've asked employees to go and find them and to take a selfie and then tag DDSN and tag the Spinal Cord Injury Association. So I have these for you in hopes that you will put them up in a local business around where you live so that people in your area can participate as well. And finally, on September the 29th, we will host a panel of spinal cord injury survivors and voices of injury prevention from the Midlands Think First chapter. Think First is a nationally organized or recognized program that teaches children and teens to think first before acting to prevent spinal cord injury and brain injury. And so they will come and talk to us about the presentations that they do in school, and we're excited to have them here. And in closing, I just want to thank all the people that we serve who motivate us to bring attention to spinal cord injury and to promote prevention. And as we all know, we can't prevent every spinal cord injury, but we can reduce incidents by knowing more about spinal cord injury.
Quick question. Sure. What percentage do we serve that are not injury related, but birth related, or perhaps in the womb related? Could be
So we
C1
serve
problem or
we
C2
serve
problem.
those individuals under similar disabilities,
Mm-hmm.
and they're probably about a third of the totality of the HASP waiver cases that we have.
So you don't ignore those. That's good. Okay. If it's spinal cord related, then it is what we do, basically.
We serve, yes, so it's a little more complicated than that, but yes, we do serve individuals with spinal cord injury that was not traumatic in nature.
Okay.
So
all
like
right.
transverse myelitis and things like that.
Last quick question. Do you find with the spinal cord either fully impaired by way of legs and arms, quadriplegic, that there is a great deal of pain involved? How much pain management do you find with spinal cord related? I had always assumed that there was not pain involved, and I just heard lately that there was quite a bit of pain sometimes.
I have a daughter, and my daughter, it varies from person to person, and it's based on whether they have sensation or not. For example, my daughter has complete sensation, which means she can feel you touch her or feel water, hot or cold. But that doesn't, she's still paralyzed. Okay. But then there are those who don't have that sense, that sensation. So it really depends on the person. It also depends on whether they're having muscle spasms, which is a problem, a significant problem for people with spinal cord injuries. And they have such severe spasms that, I mean, you'll see their bodies jump and that kind of thing. So it varies. The spinal cord is such a unique thing that every patient is so individualized that for example, my daughter and Michelle's daughter have the same injury. Their injuries are at the same level, but they have different abilities. I mean, you know, Mary Catherine has full use of her fingers. Not perfect, but she can grasp and that kind of thing, where Michelle's daughter struggles with that a little bit. So it really varies.
Well, back to the pain issue particularly,
Yeah.
I understand about the quadriplegic or paraplegic might have some abilities. It was particularly if someone were a paraplegic, let's say,
Yeah.
or well, it doesn't matter, quadriplegic, either one, is there a lot of pain associated with that? Pain, not just
I
sensation.
I want to address that a little bit. And
Yeah.
yes, I think the majority of spinal cord injury folks do have pain. Like most of them will have like what they call nerve pain. And I know my daughter has nerve pain 24/7. So the degree of nerve pain is a little bit different and it affects different areas. Some will say it's, you know, feels like fire. My daughter's nerve pain is all within her core area, and she describes it as a hot poker stick stabbing her. You just learn to manage it, but most of them will have nerve pain. Is one of them.
Air up a little bit in here. It's kind of warm.
I may speak to that matter myself. A lot of people with cerebral palsy have spasticity issues and nerve issues. I'm actually dealing with that myself now. So, so we do have, so there are a number of disabilities that any disability that relates to the spinal cord in any way would have nerve issue, pain problems, and things of that nature. It's just part of what we deal with. But the only other question I wanted to ask you, if you don't mind, ma'am, is 8.4% of people you said that are of the spinal cord injuries we see are sports related. What is the highest number? I assume it's car accidents?
It is, yes.
And that's what percentage about?
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. I don't have that in front of me, but
Is it like 50?
it's probably, it's definitely the leading cause. I think it's probably in the 30, and it might even say on your poster there. But it's definitely the leading cause.
It's probably in the 30% range.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. We appreciate you all, and
Appreciate it.
we appreciate the awareness of spinal cord injury and those with those injuries. Next, we have a very honored to have Palmetto Able Savings Program. We have Ms. Karen Kreider. Kreider, okay.
Kreider, but I answer to lots of different things.
Okay.
Kreider, believe
She's
me.
with the Honorable State Treasurer's Office, Treasurer Loftus, and we're glad to have you with us today.
Well, thank you. I'm delighted to be here. Is there a clicker that I can use, or?
If you just let me know, I'll change.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, thank you so much for having me here today. Dr. Fry, Commissioners, it is a real pleasure. I spoke here several years ago, and it's always wonderful to be able to share news about our program. Next slide, please. To give you, and you can change from this one too. This is just our legalese that says, please read our disclosure statement before you open an account. To get started, let me give you just a very brief overview of the Federal ABLE Act, which I hope everyone is familiar with by now. But if you're not, this is the Federal Achieving a Better Life Experience, or ABLE Act, and it was federally passed in 2014. And in doing so, created tax-advantaged savings and investment accounts that allow families to save money for the often increased expenses that are associated with life with a disability. And what's so important about these accounts is that resources in an ABLE account do not affect eligibility for needs-based benefits such as SSI and Medicaid, because we all know there's a $2,000 resource limit. You receive benefits and you risk losing those. With these accounts, you can save well over that. Next slide, please. Now, the other part of that is states are allowed to offer qualified programs to their citizens. In South Carolina, our program is the Palmetto Able Savings Program, and our legislation was approved in 2016. Our program is administered by the State Treasurer's Office, and this is Treasurer Loftus right here. And we opened for enrollment almost 5 years ago, November 17th, 2017. And I'm very pleased to say that we have over 2,700 accounts now open statewide and over $23 million in assets under management. So we're getting there. We have a long way to go, and we encourage everyone to share the word because there are so many people and so many families that can benefit from these accounts. Next slide, please. When you look at eligibility, this is one of the big criteria for ownership of an ABLE account. Age of onset is key, and currently the age of onset is 26. So this does not mean you have to be diagnosed with a disability, but it must have been present. In addition to that, to participate in our program, you must be a resident of South Carolina, and you must meet one of the following 3 criteria. Either be eligible to receive SSI or SSDI due to your disability, or have a condition on the Social Security Administration's Compassionate Allowances Conditions List, or individuals can self-certify. And this would include many, many conditions that are listed in the Social Security Administration's Blue Book. So these are really wide open. One thing to mention is that the federal, the Able Age Adjustment Act has been reintroduced in Congress. And if this is passed, it will increase the age of onset to 46, which will open these accounts to a lot more people, including many military veterans and a lot of people that incur spinal cord injuries, which can happen later in life. So we'll see how that goes. We're very, very hopeful, though, and Treasurer Loftus is very much in support of that. Next slide, please. When you think about the benefits of these accounts, there really are a number that we'd like to point out here. First is that it protects your resources because you can save money now without losing your benefits eligibility. And that is so critical to so many people. And they allow you to save money so you can put money aside for things that you want and that you need. And it really helps avoid spend down, which are 2 words that I think everybody in the disability community would like to see go away. Can't tell you how many times I've heard of people say, well, we had to buy a new television set, or my son had to get all new bedroom furniture just to keep their resources down. With an ABLE account, you can save that money for things that you actually want and need. The other thing it does is provides tax benefits. These accounts are tax advantage, meaning that the earnings grow tax-free as long as you use the funds on qualified expenses. And if you're a South Carolina resident, you can deduct your contributions from your South Carolina state income tax return, which is really wonderful. And there's also pride of ownership because for a lot of people, even a lot of adults, because they've had to work with the benefits limitation, they've never been able to have financial accounts like this and save money like everybody else does. So that really is an important thing to mention. Next slide, please. The enrollment process is very simple. Everything is done online at palmettoable.com. It should take about 15 to 20 minutes. It's a very simple process, much like setting up a bank account for online banking. And there is a $25 minimum opening deposit. This is not a fee. It does not belong to the state. It belongs to the account holder, but that's just the money that's required to fund the account. Next slide, please. The enrollment can be done by one of 2 types of people. And I won't spend a lot of time on this, but it's important to note these accounts can be opened either by the individual with the disability, if they're able to do so, or they can be opened by an authorized legal representative. And this could be someone who has power of attorney. It can be a parent. We work with a lot of entities. These are approved representatives that can open and manage these accounts for their clients. In fact, in South Carolina, we work with many of the DDSNs, the special needs boards around the state, who have opened these accounts for their consumers to allow them to save money because they're aware of the big financial picture and they know when somebody is approaching that $2,000 limit and they can move money into these accounts, and then their folks have money to spend on things that they need. So there's a lot of flexibility here, and we have full details on this on our website. Next slide, please. The enrollment process, I mentioned this, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. It is like opening a bank account for online banking. Usernames, passwords, you provide identity information, you just follow the steps, and again, it's a very short and sweet process. Literally 15 minutes is about all it should take. Next slide. This is what our website looks like now. We are going to have a new website that will be unveiled probably the first quarter of next year. We're working on that right now. But you can see on our website, which is palmettoable.com, we have a big blue box on the bottom and on the top navigation bar that says enroll now. You can open an account, and that's also where you would go to log in. So it's a pretty simple site to navigate. But stay tuned, it will be looking different shortly. Next slide, please. In terms of funding the account, you have a number of options. These accounts are all managed online, so really contributions and distributions, taking money out, is all done online. You can do it through an electronic fund transfer. You have a bank account that's attached to your Palmetto Able account. You move money from your bank account, whether it's a checking account or savings account, into your Able account. You can also mail in a paper check. A lot of people still don't like the electronic banking methods, so you can print out a form and mail a paper check in, and it will be deposited that way. You can also do payroll deductions, which is really good. This is a great opportunity for families, either for individuals who are employed, who want to just get in that habit of savings, to have their money transferred to their account, and for parents and family members to do as well. And we have all that information online. And you can actually do a program rollover. And what this means is if someone moves to South Carolina from another state and they have an Able account and they decide they want to participate in our program, they can move those funds from the other state's program into our program. And the same with the 529 account, which is a college savings account, because sometimes we all know life happens. You may have plans for your child to go to college, and either they have a diagnosis or an accident, and everything changes. So if you put money aside in a college savings fund, you can roll that into a Palmetto Able account for that child. You can still use the money on education, but you're also going to have a lot more flexibility with it. Next slide, please. E-gifting is a great function. You can go online and set up an e-gifting page. This is easy to do. You know, a lot of people around the holidays run into problems with money that's coming in from family members and friends, and it increases their resources. If you send them a link for an Able account, they can deposit it directly into the account, and that's not counted as a resource. So it protects their benefits eligibility, and that's what these accounts really are all about. And also, e-gifts don't count as income. So it really is truly a gift to the beneficiary. Next slide, please. Contributions. This is important right now. Well, federally, the contribution limit per year is tied to the federal gift tax exclusion, which is $16,000 a year. Every few years, we see this go up. So when that number increases, the contribution level will increase as well. Now, if someone is employed, in addition to the $16,000, they can contribute up to an additional $12,880, which is thanks to the Able to Work Act. So conceivably, someone could save, if they're employed, almost $30,000 a year, which is sizable. And currently, our lifetime program limit is $517,000. So, and when people reach that amount, which will take quite a while to do so, their accounts will continue to grow interest or earn interest. They just won't be able to make any further contributions until they spend below that program cap. SSI considerations, this is something important. A lot of people have heard of the $100,000 rule with these accounts. What this means is if you receive benefits, the first $100,000 in an Able account are not considered a resource. If you have over $100,000, that amount over it does count as a resource, and conceivably your SSI benefits would suspend. Now, when you spend below $100,000, your benefits will resume. And people always ask, well, why is it $100,000? Well, that's the way the law was written. But everybody needs to remember that's still $98,000 more than they could have had without an Able account. So that is significant. And it's important to note that Medicaid benefits are never affected by the balance in an Able account. So even if their SSI suspends, they keep their Medicaid in place. Next slide, please. There are some costs associated with these accounts, as there are with most financial accounts. $3.25 a month for a maintenance fee. And there are asset-based fees that range from 0.19 to 0.33% that are deducted from the earnings. So, and this is very competitive with other programs. Next slide, please. Investment options, I won't spend much time here. These accounts are similar to like a 401k, where you'll have different investment options ranging from more conservative to more aggressive. We have a bank safe option as well, which is federally insured up to $250,000, and And our program, most of the money that we see from our consumers is in that bank safe fund because people don't want to take risks with their investments. So this is strictly up to the individual. In the treasurer's office, we don't ever give any kind of financial advice like that. And if someone needs advice or information, we encourage them to talk to either a financial planner or a family member or friend that they trust. Next slide, please. Spending your funds. This is wide open. People frequently ask, is there a list of how we can use the money? And the answer is no. The IRS did not create a list because they want everyone to use these accounts in the ways that will be most beneficial to their family members. You can use these funds on anything that will improve the health, the independence, and quality of life of the account holder. And that's everything from housing to transportation to assistive technology. It really is wide open. We just tell people to use their judgment and make good decisions about how they spend their funds. Next slide. Withdrawing funds, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. Basically, you can make a transfer from your ABLE account to your checking account. You can also request a check, either sent to yourself or the authorized legal representative. So it's easy to do. It's easy to access those funds. Next slide, please. And we have a debit card, the Stable Visa Load and Spend debit card. People can transfer money from their account onto the Stable card and then use those funds wherever Visa is accepted. So it gives them a lot of flexibility on accessing their money. So, and it also gives people a paper trail if they want to keep track of their expenditures. This is a great way to do it by just spending the funds on this account. Next slide, please. How about ABLE accounts and special needs trust? This is always a big question because people will say, if I have an ABLE account, do I need a special needs trust? Or if I have a special needs trust, do I need an ABLE account? Our feeling is these are complementary resources and they both work to benefit the individual with a disability. With a Palmetto ABLE account, you're going to have a lot of flexibility on how you spend your funds.
Excuse me just one second.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to figure out what this and this is all fascinating stuff.
Okay.
What does it have to do with DDSN? I mean, are we merged some kind of way into this or?
No, this is really something that will benefit, these accounts will benefit many of the consumers that you serve. And we work with
Thing here relative
this is just
to.
a resource. This is simply a resource that's available and we are trying to spread the word. We want people to know about these accounts
Okay.
because it's still.
I keep listening, DDSN needs to fill in the blank and
Oh, I'm sorry if I didn't make that connection for you.
I'm getting old. So, you know, I just had a birthday and I always, when I have trouble mentally, I always say, code fog, I had that too.
Oh my goodness.
So you know, I was just trying to figure it out. Thank you very much. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry. Okay.
And we do work with a lot of the DDSNs on the boards around the state because they use these accounts to protect the resources for their consumers.
Sure.
Because they don't want to have to spend down those funds. Yeah. So this is a really easy, smart way to do it.
I saw that $500,000 stuff and I said, whoa, that's pretty good.
It's a lot of money, yeah. So it will take time to get there, but I think over time, somebody sooner or later will hit that mark. So it won't be my son though, I can assure you. My son does have an account as well. So anyway, they're flexible, they're easy to open, they can be opened by the individual themselves, and they're not expensive. You don't pay legal fees to open one of these accounts. Now with a special needs trust, of course, you can put in large sums of money and other assets, which you cannot do with an ABLE account. But you can make a distribution from a special needs trust into an ABLE account and then have that flexibility, which is really important. So they do work very well together.
And the money in that Palmetto ABLE account can help pay for the lawyer's fees for a special needs trust.
That's right. Yes, you can use the funds in an ABLE account to set up a special needs trust. And if you need financial advice, you can pay for a financial advisor. So it's all.
Because I set up a trust and didn't
Well,
know about the account.
We'll talk about it
So,
later. I'll
yeah.
tell you the person.
But you can always open an account.
Yes, you can.
And if you have any questions, you are welcome to call me personally and I'll be glad to help you. So.
And it also, because it kind of works similar to a debit card, it gives individuals with disabilities the ability to know how they're, participate in the withdrawal and purchasing process, where they can literally see where their money, where money's coming from, so it's a great tool to teach
It is.
responsible, yes.
It is. It really is a
Inclusive.
wonderful way to
Yeah.
teach money management.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of our folks maybe are perhaps a little more financially vulnerable. So this is a good way to have those protections in place, but allow them to have that independence and to learn as they go. It was a great point, so thank you for that. Next slide, please. Medicaid services, these accounts are subject to Medicaid payback, but there are protections involved with this. For one thing, Medicaid can only withdraw or claw back from the time period that the account was open and benefits were received. So if someone received benefits their entire life, had their account open for 3 years, only that 3-year period would be subject. Now, in addition to that, if they paid any kind of Medicaid buying premiums, those could be subtracted out of the amount due to Medicaid and to HHS. And you can use the funds in the account to pay for any outstanding bills that may exist for that individual. And that would include funeral and burial. So all that can be done before the money is subject to that. And as I said, funeral expenses. Okay, next slide, please. The death of account holder. This is something that we are starting to see more of with many of our beneficiaries. What you do is, again, spend the money as you need to, pay for funeral and burial, any outstanding expenses. We have a death of beneficiary form on our website that's submitted to the program administrator. And after that, a check will be issued to the estate of the beneficiary. And after that money is issued, at that point, if the estate goes through probate, that's when HHS would interface and request payback. So, and next slide. I think that's about it, other than the fact that we are here to help you. We have a customer service center that's open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can look at our website, and I encourage you to do that. We have a lot of great information there. And
You are the administrator of this program?
Well, we're the program manager. We administer it in South Carolina, yes. But we work with the Ohio Stable Account Program, and and I'm the manager in South Carolina, but they manage the program overall. So we are part
So
of their program.
if my husband wanted to call you and get more information, he would just call this 800 number?
He
to get
could,
hold of
and
you?
if you wanted him to call me, he can call me. I'll be glad to.
I'd love to get your number so he can call you. He's a CPA, so he'll need to figure all this out.
Well, that's good, and we do try to work with CPAs because these are just such a great resource for a lot of people that are doing that special needs planning.
Yeah.
And, like elder care attorneys, a lot of times work in the same arena. So it's an ongoing process. Even though we've got 2,700 accounts, we've got a lot more to go.
I'd love to get your card. So
Okay. Absolutely. Next slide, please. What we ask of you is to help us spread the word. We have social media, which PJ is very well aware of. We follow each other on Facebook. We have posts regularly by Treasurer Loftus. He's also on Instagram. And this is a quote, which I apologize, even though I've given this presentation, I can't tell you how many times I cannot read it from this distance. I can't see it, but I know.
I can read it for you if you
Okay,
want.
would you like to run?
Is the one on the bottom?
Yes.
Yeah, a Palmetto Able savings account levels the playing field, not only for me, but for so many others. It allows us to plan and save for the future without penalizing the benefit programs we need to assist us. And this is from a Palmetto Able account owner.
Yes, thank you, because I know what it says, but
I know, it's fine.
I'm older too, I don't always remember these things. But these accounts really are game changers in the disability community. This young man was one of our first people to open an account. He lives up in Lawrence County and has been just a big proponent. So please help us spread the word. If you know anybody that can personally benefit or know someone, because my belief is everyone knows somebody that would be eligible for one of these accounts. Please tell them about it.
I would love to see, PJ, I'd like to see our groups work together, and that way we can help put out the word about it, maybe on our social media too.
It's been posted on our social
Good.
media, and we do include the Palmetto Able program as part of our training for our DSPs.
Wonderful. I think that would be great. I want us to work together and do what we can to really help you guys with this, because this is an important thing for those we serve. To be able to.
I think maybe case managers should be informed about Palmetto Able
Yeah.
account, so they can spread the word through our.
Yeah,
we would
work
too.
We would appreciate it greatly. Are there any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much. And I also am leaving a big stack of grant cards, just if anybody wants any, and I will also leave copies of my business card.
Thank you. We appreciate you being here.
Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, PJ, Peter, let's talk about the Golden Palmetto Award.
So I do have something that the commission can vote on. So with the exception of the past 2 years due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we have been giving the Golden Palmetto Award for more than 40 years. It's been presented to honor a county government in South Carolina that has demonstrated the most exemplary support for people with disabilities during the previous year. Partnerships between local disability agencies, the city, and county councils increase and promote many opportunities for people with disabilities, especially in employment and community inclusion. They increase the visibility made by individuals with disabilities and create opportunities to build new relationships and faster friendships. We want to credit the DSN Board of Executive Directors across the state who work hard to cultivate and maintain active partnerships with their county governments to benefit individuals with disabilities. These efforts are to be commended and celebrated. The Golden Palmetto Award is DDSN's way of thanking county governments who work hard to cultivate and maintain active partnerships, and thanking our county governments for their leadership in making it a priority in the lives of people with disabilities. The Ssi Association of Counties are kind enough to allow DDSN to recognize and honor the winning county at their monthly meeting this October. We normally give it at their annual meeting in August, but because I started a little bit later in the year, I got the awards program started a little bit later, but it will be back on track as of next year. So we are pleased to recommend for your approval for the 2021 Golden Palmetto Award, the Beaufort County government. Beaufort County is the only county in South Carolina that has made the Department of Disabilities and Special Needs a county department, making all employees county employees. The relationships assure consumers and their families the availability of excellent services and needed resources. These services are actively monitored consistently by the county administration. A county council person serves on the advisory board to provide support and direction as needed. The county has hired 1/3 of their consumers, which also makes them county employees. With the cost of living pay raise, consumers start jobs at or above the minimum wage. The residential homes, day program facility areas, and other DSN buildings are excellently maintained by the county's facility maintenance department. Responding to the needs of any DSN's buildings is a major priority. 10 years ago, Beaufort County made a commitment to design and construct a state-of-the-art facility to house their day program and other program offices. The county has also constructed 11 residential homes. It's considering adding a 12th home in the future due to the expansion in the needs of their county. Beaufort County's commitment to persons with disabilities is reflected in their wanting to understand the needs and financially supporting these needs. The county government recently commissioned a study by the University of South Carolina to learn the needs of the families with individuals with disabilities. The results of the survey were to inform lawmaker of the needs of Beaufort's disability community and how to better serve them. Recently, the county approved 2 accessible playgrounds for families and caregivers, and they very recently converted a lot of their policies and service information over into Spanish, and is making a great reach into the Spanish community to offer these services at churches, businesses, and places where families gather. Beaufort County government is clearly committed to the individuals we serve and deserves recognition for their exemplary commitment to the people with disabilities and special needs. It is a recommendation for your approval for Beaufort County to receive the 2021 Golden Palmetto Award.
Since he cannot make a motion, I will to ask that we would make a motion that Beaufort County would be our Palmetto Award winner for.
Do I have a second to this motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Or any discussion regarding this matter?
Has the commission voted on this in the past?
I don't know that we have.
Yeah, I don't.
Not since
Yeah.
not since
2018 was the last time it was given and was suspended due to the COVID-19.
Right, but I don't remember us voting on it.
No, well, I mean, neither one of us have been here much longer than 2018.
Well, I was here for 1 or 2 of them, but, okay, I just wanted to.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think it's great. And, okay,
We should have voted.
I would like to see us when they do give this, I know that's Commissioner Malphus's zone. I'd love to see him go, and do the presentation.
Yes, I'll be making arrangements with the Association for County Governments to present it at their meeting. I'll be doing a press release as well as a congratulatory letter to Beaufort County Government, and I will make arrangements for Commissioner Malphus to be giving.
And I think Miller is a part of that too.
Are you in that zone too?
I think so.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah,
We'll
it's
both
all
be
part
good.
of it. You are.
Yeah.
You have a sliver.
Smart man.
That's right. Okay,
I
we'll
will,
both
I will
of them
make
down.
sure
We'll be
that
there with
Commissioners Miller and Malphus will be informed and available for the giving of the award at their next meeting in October.
Sounds wonderful.
I'll get the details to you, gentlemen, and I will inform their government about the good news.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it, and congratulations to Beaufort County. We appreciate their commitment to those we serve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Next, we're going into committee business. Finance and Audit Committee, Commissioner Blackwood.
Quick question. I apologize for being late, but let me ask one question about the agenda. At the last commission meeting, I had inquired about a time, and I thought I had made it an intention to have the issue of waiting list on the agenda, but maybe that was understood as sort of a special meeting or something. When are we going to discuss the waiting list criteria for the 3 waiting lists that are, it's not here, and
We'll either do that next month or the month after. Was that right? We were trying to get the.
Is this the eligibility?
We have 60 days, and my recollection is
Yeah.
that you specifically asked for it to be a special meeting. And so we
Yeah.
were going to work
Okay.
with the chair to get that
Eligibility.
arranged.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if I had said being on the agenda or.
60 days.
Yeah,
So-
it was 60 days from the time of the last meeting that we had, and we're gonna have a special meeting.
And you
I'll call it.
specifically were referencing the eligibility, the full eligibility process.
Well, you've got 3 waiting lists, and the question is getting onto it, and how do you get off of it? What are the notification
We got a
issues?
brief overview of the process, but we wanted more detail about some things.
Yep.
And so I just wanted to make sure that we're all clarifying that it was regarding the eligibility process and not so much just looking at the waiting list, because we get every month the report on how many people are on each of the waiting lists. So I just wanted to make sure that I clarified that, because we do get that information every month. But what you specifically were asking for was the eligibility process.
How do you get on the list, and
Yeah,
then how
so
you
that we
come
can get
off
a
the
lot of
list,
questions answered.
and all that, and whether or not fee for service is beginning to have an impact on the numbers on the waiting list, that kind of thing. I don't mean for it to be like a 3 or 4 hour meeting, but I would think it could be done maybe in an hour or so.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely plan a special meeting, but let's let them, I know they're trying to gather some of that information, am I correct?
Well, I'm just working on identifying a date because on when it would work.
For everybody.
We have next month is travel, and then we have the committee meeting, so we'll work with.
Well, and we're approaching vacation time and everything in December. I actually don't want it to impinge upon staff time and all that right in the middle of Thanksgiving and Christmas. So if you wanted to bump it, I'm not going to fuss about that. I just need to go away. We really do need to have it. And maybe everybody knows all this and it's just me that has the COVID fog.
Real quick, I don't want us to get too far off the agenda, but I do want to say, we have, Dr. Fry and I have been conversing about this in our weekly meetings. And one of the things that she and I discussed is maybe having not necessarily a flow chart, but something kind of a chart showing us how someone works through that process. And I think they're working on that for us.
That would help.
Received
That helps in even knowing that somebody in higher authority really understands the totality. All right, thank you.
We're working on it. I will say that.
I apologize.
I haven't forgotten you.
Excuse me. Thank
That's
you,
okay.
yes.
All right, let's go on to Robin in Finance and Audit.
Okay, the Finance and Audit Committee met in early September, and We discussed the Witten Center transfer and as well as, I just wanted to note that Courtney Crosby, our internal auditor, presented at that meeting, is not able to present today due to a scheduling conflict. So she is not on our agenda today, but she did present and provide just some updates on what she's been working on this month in the Finance and Audit Committee meeting. And the main takeaway of that is that she is starting the work on the audit for Williamsburg County DSN board. So anyway, that's why she isn't on our agenda today, but I just wanted to use this my portion to let everyone know that in terms of why. And so the main item that we talked about in the Finance and Audit Committee meeting was the Witten Center transfer. As the commissioners know, in July, DDSN's legal counsel, Constance Holloway, informed the commission that all the necessary documents were finalized on the sale of the Witten Center property. And there was a motion made at that July meeting by Commissioner Malfris. And we have since then spent some time looking into the legality of that motion, as well as what the will of the commission wants regarding the Witten Center property transfer and the sale of any future property. So the committee met and finalized on a motion that we want to bring to the commission. If Commissioner Malfris would be willing to withdraw his motion. I'd like to make a new motion that the committee talked through and wants to present to the commission today regarding the official documentation in the records of what the commission wants regarding any sale of property from the Witten Center in the future, whether it be from timber or from other sale of the land that is to come back to DDSN and in what way that money is to be spent.
Okay, so we have a request, Commissioner Malfris, are you willing to withdraw?
Yes, I will withdraw the motion that I have. The motion is still on the floor because we've extended it for 2 months. Okay. This is the last, we cannot extend it any longer. And so therefore we either had to vote on or withdraw it. And based upon the information that I have regarding the new motion, I'm happy to withdraw the motion that I have and listen to the next one.
All right, we don't have to vote on withdrawal, do we, David? We don't vote on withdrawal. Okay.
No, we don't vote on withdrawal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that
Not if
motion,
the person that withdrew it, not if the person that is
Made.
made it is withdrawing it.
okay, I just want to make sure of that. All right, so the motion has been withdrawn. Okay, go ahead, Robin.
All right, so the motion that I'd like to make, which I have checked with the legal counsel with DDSN to ensure that the motion is proper or supported by DDSN and its accuracy and as well as its approved, so to speak, before I brought it to the commission. The motion that I'd like to make is that would go into the record. The city of Clinton officially closed on the Witten Center real estate transaction of 374.5 acres in August 2022. And I would like to make the motion that any future revenue made from the sale of timber on the land sold to the city of Clinton or the sale of any land from the 2022 real estate transaction go towards capital improvements defined as any addition or change made to land or equipment of any kind on any building that increases its value to be used at any DDSN regional center that has the greatest need at the time of the sale. So that is my motion that I'd like to make.
And it's a motion and a second that comes out of your committee,
We
correct?
actually didn't vote on it
Okay.
in the committee.
Okay.
We wanted to have legal counsel look over it, make sure
Okay.
that there was no problems with it. So I did that in the last week. So
So we have a motion. Do I have a second on the motion? We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any
discussion.
discussion? I'm sorry.
Seems to cut through Gordian's knot here.
Well,
Good job.
I just want to thank the finance committee, because that was my recommendation, is
Yeah.
to send it back to finance for a second look. And I think that's important, that we as a commission realize when we're not quite together on something, maybe we need to go back and take a second look at things and see if we can work something out that works for everybody. And I just want to thank the finance committee for their willingness to take that on and to really look at it and find a good compromise. So that's my comment. Is there any other discussion?
I request another reading of that. It was very difficult for me to get it one time.
Okay, we'll request one more reading. How about that, Robin? You got it?
And Robin did say she wanted this in the minutes, by the way.
Yeah, so you'll forward that to Christie, correct?
So the motion that I made is that any future revenue made from the sale of timber on the land that was sold to City of Clinton in this last transaction, or the sale of any land, so the sale of timber or the sale of just any land from the transaction, that money would go, when it is received by DDSN, towards capital improvements, which capital improvements are any addition or change made to the land or equipment of any kind or any building that increases its value. So that's the specific capital improvement direction. That it would be used at DDSN's discretion at DDSN at the regional centers. So not just Witten, which is what we had said in the first motion, but at any DDSN regional center that has the greatest need at the time of the sale. That is how the motion reads, with some additional kind of descriptions. So,
And I was the one that had objected to it. The motion on the floor now, without objection.
right, the first motion, he
The
objected.
one that was just read,
Yeah.
without objection, I'm in agreement.
All right, any other discussion?
I just want to say, I think it's a very useful motion, because the transfer documents say that it would go into the DDSN's general fund, and this way it does not go in the general fund. It goes to the regional center in most need. And I think that's a very good compromise. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Committee. Thank you, committee. I appreciate that. All right, we're going to take a vote. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it, and that motion will stand and is approved.
That's it for my update from the committee.
Thank you, Robin. We appreciate you and appreciate what you guys have done.
Thank you, ma'am.
with that. I appreciate your compromising on all that. All right, policy committee, we're gonna go to Commissioner Malford.
Thank you, ma'am, very much.
And for those of you following, his does start at tab 4 in your book.
Yes, I am tab 4, and I'm presenting this today because our wonderful chairman is back, and I'd like to officially welcome her back to her chair, since I have now taken my vice chairman's chair back, which is nice, which is fine with me. I like my vice chairman's chair, also like where we sit. So I will say that the first item on the agenda for the policy committee, we had a policy committee meeting last month, of course, as we always do, and it is 709 DD, which is determining residential services, and is it, of course, to ensure eligibility services are provided and the needed supports, including residential services, in a timely manner for all those that we can. This directive was going through by the policy committee. There were several corrections or additions made to it and in the policy committee. And after, of course, they went out for public comment, and that included the disability rights comments that they had. And we are asking that this document would be approved, but the key thing that I want everybody to hear again, which we said at the policy committee meeting, was that this document does not take, policy does not take effect until December 1st, so that we can have some additional training for all those that are, that have any concern about this policy to be trained on and that sort of thing. So that comes to motion, a second to approve this this policy is written.
Okay, that is policy number 70009DD, determining need for residential services. Is there any discussion on this? A motion and a second, so now we're at discussion on this policy. I do have a question. We met and answered disability services, Disability Rights South Carolina's concerns, correct?
We responded to their letter with a letter. We did not make material changes, but our letter explains why.
Okay, all right. Were there any comments from,
Disability Rights South Carolina?
no, the other providers across the state? Were there any?
There were.
There were a dozen or more.
Lori, do you want to address it, or? Yeah,
There were a dozen or more comments, which were all addressed by our staff and those that we incorporated some and did not incorporate others, but they were all addressed. And I've said in the policy committee meeting, I thought we did a wonderful job addressing those.
okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I think I had gotten an email about one. Sure we had looked into all those. All right, so that is the policy. Are there any other comments or concerns? Hearing none, we're voting on 70009DD. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Hearing none, the ayes have it, and that motion is approved. Policy is approved. All right, next policy.
I just wanted to say before we get to the next policy that Ms. Woodhead was in our first meeting this past month, and I appreciate her input in that regard. I meant to say that at the beginning, I'm sorry. Next one is 70003DD, which is informed choice in living preferences. And it ensures that the residents of the ICFs are informed of the service options that they have, and also the
Which tab are we in, or we?
5.
And this is, like I say, 70003DD, and the directive is revised in conjunction with 70009DD. So it's really been revised relating to coincide more with 70009DD, which I love to have happen so that we can make things more fluid in our relating to our policies. And it was posted for external review, and there was one comment that we got, which we addressed. And staff made that change, and this directive will also become effective December 1st to allow for training and that sort of thing. Because these are intricately involved with one another, so.
All right, wait a minute. It's showing effective date is September 15th, 2022.
Sorry, I made a mistake. I thought it was December 1st.
This one's supposed to be December 1st? Yes. All right, so we'll need to change the effective date on this to December 1st,
Yeah, I thought so.
2022. That's okay. That's okay. I always just look at those. All right, so on your copy of policy number 70003DD, the effective date needs to be changed to December 1st, 2022. So that's with that change is what we will be voting on. And there's a motion, a second out of committee. Well, I don't know. Okay, we have a motion, second. Any second?
Yes.
So we have a motion and a second with the revision of the effective date being December 1st, 2022. Any further discussion on this topic? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, 703DD is approved.
So, can I say something really quick?
Yes, please.
So we're marking it obsolete, so there really is no effective date.
Okay.
That's kind of the confusion, right?
Okay, I
So
didn't
that.
No, that one doesn't have
Not
obsolete on it.
703DD,
I'm sorry, the next
The
one.
next one, okay.
The next
Okay,
one.
all right. So the effective date is correct?
Wait a minute, we're not marking 703.
Right, it's the next one.
Okay,
Right, okay,
All
that's
right,
fine.
all right, go ahead. To the next one.
All right, now, the next one is
Next one, tab.
Tab 6.
I think if we could keep talking tabs, that
Yeah.
would help us,
Yeah.
okay?
All right, let me ask a question. Do we want to take the next two together since both of them are being marked obsolete, or did you take them separately or together in the committee?
We always take them separately in the committee, but we can do it here. In the
Okay.
interest of time, we can do both.
Okay.
They are 500-01DD, which is administration discharge of individuals from funded community residential settings, and also the waiting list,
Is it 500,
which are
502?
502-01DD, did I say, sorry?
Yeah, you said 501.
Sorry, 502-01DD and 502-0105DD,
05DD.
yes. Are both, anyway, they're both being recommended to be made obsolete because they are incorporated in 700-09DD.
All right.
So
So we have a motion and a second to mark obsolete both policy 502-01DD and 502-05DD. So that motion and a second comes out of committee. Any discussion on the matter?
Which is tab 6 and 7.
Yes, tab 6 and 7 for your tab.
Yeah.
All right. All in favor, please signify by, yes, Lori.
Can we just add that they're gonna be marked obsolete effective December 1, because they all go with the same policy,
Okay.
right?
All
So
right.
they're not being marked obsolete today, they're being
Oh, I thought they
marked
were. I'm sorry.
obsolete December 1.
okay.
Effective December 1, 2022.
Do we need a new motion in a second then?
Yes, we will.
I
Yeah.
move what she just said, what Laura just said concerning the dates.
Yeah, I second.
Well, that's not very
Both of them,
specific.
tab 6 and tab
That's where
7.
we need a specific motion.
Okay, do we have a second on that motion? If anybody understands exactly what the motion.
We're making a second on the motion to change the date, to make it
Obsolete.
obsolete at a
effective.
different
Okay.
date.
That was my motion, yes, it was.
All right, so we are now voting to mark obsolete effective December 1st, 2022, policies number 502-01DD and policy 502-05DD. Those will be effective December 1st, 2022. Y'all are gonna, all these numbers, y'all are gonna have me a mess by the end of this day. Okay.
If you don't like numbers, you don't like policy committee, I'm sorry.
All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Uh,
All opposed? None. My ayes carry. Those two will be marked obsolete effective December 1st, 2022.
I got
Next one,
two
baby.
more things to go over quickly, I'm sorry it takes so
That's
long.
okay.
The next one is 275-04.
You on tab A?
Yep.
Yes,
tell
don't
me.
have a, sorry. It's 275-04DD, which is procedures for implementation of DDSN audit policy for the DDSN boards. The only change on this one is that we are changing the date due to pandemic-related, pre-pandemic related matters. And this one, it came before the committee in July, but we needed to change the date. And so we're changing that date in there to make it, and we're asking for commission's approval to change the date on that policy. That's the only change we're making.
Okay,
So that comes as a motion to second out of committee. We discussed that in the committee.
all right, motion and a second. Any discussion on the matter?
So the 15th still good?
September 15th, 2022, effective date. Is that still good, Lori?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so policy number 275-04DD. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries and that policy is approved. All right, tab 9.
The last one is tab 9, I would guess.
No, this one?
Under old business? Under old.
The last
No,
one is
that's it. That's the
Old
last
business
one.
is tab 9.
Now you just gotta do your committee update.
I'm sorry, that's right, it's committee update. The committee update is that death or impending death of person receiving services from DDSN. This is more of a comprehensive policy where we're now informing DDSN of all deaths, whether they are within a regional center or outside of regional center if we serve them in any way. And so that, and we discussed that in committee, and there are several changes that we made there, or additions that we made there. And now it comes for public comment, and that public comment will end on precisely on September 22nd. So to let everybody know that. So if you have any comments on it, to do it by September 22nd, and then it'll come back to the committee for discussion of whatever comments we get, and then we'll bring it back at the next meeting for approval.
Okay. All right, anything else? Hearing none, let's move on to old business, tab 9. This is Commissioner Thomas. This is the Disability Special Needs Committee procedures.
It's still under policy and procedures. Is this same committee? The same committee. If you'll go to tab 9, it's pretty well self-explanatory. Now watch, there'd be 50 questions. It just expands the scope. And if you look at the red under it all insurers, then that's consists of 4 commission members. Relevant legislative issues that affect. So the legislative committee is going to be involved in monitoring legislation concerning how legislative matters that affect the commission or agency. It will also analyze whether or not to take a position regarding any of those legislative issues. It will also monitor DDSN annual budget as it moves through the legislative process and recommending changes to it that the committee deems necessary. This committee will carry forward for the full commission any of those motions, approvals, and presentations. So it just adds on to scope of what the legislative committee is supposed to do and its responsibility toward the full commission.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion from the legislative committee, from the legislative committee chairman, to approve these few changes to his procedures. Do we have a second on that motion?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. I'm sorry, if y'all need discussion, we can go back. I'm gonna say we've approved it. If there's any, are there any nays? Hearing none, the motion is carried and it is approved. All right, tab 10.
You would say approve and no further comment.
That's right. All right, tab 10 is, I'm gonna run this one. This one is the Disability and Special Needs Committee procedures for the Personnel Committee. As chairman, I'm chairing this committee right now. And so there are no changes. It basically runs the same way it's always run. I just have to get it reapproved. So I don't know that as a chairman, can I make a motion?
Sure you can.
Okay.
You can make a motion.
All right, well, I'm making a motion.
Under 11 members, you
Okay.
can make a motion.
All right, I'm making a motion that we approve this procedure for the continuation of the Personnel Committee. Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Has this committee ever met?
Yeah.
Yes, whenever we.
Nominations.
It's just, the thing is, it's a committee of the whole, which
Yeah.
means you wouldn't really know it was a committee. Well, you wouldn't necessarily know, but
Right.
anytime when we hired Ms. Fry, for example, we
Right.
met
Yeah.
as the Personnel Committee, which technically made a recommendation to the whole committee, which was already the whole committee, so we really didn't have to make a recommendation.
Yeah.
But in the past, this committee has been a smaller group
Okay,
that has made a
gotcha.
recommendation, and we changed it in the last few years to be a committee of the whole. That's the difference.
Gotcha. Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you, sorry to be so clarifying,
We
but I have
use
to do that.
this, I
I
use
need
this
it.
committee if, for example, we're adjusting salaries and that kind of thing. That's what this committee
The other
is
thing,
for.
I lost my glasses.
They're right there. They're right there under the thing, your paper. Open your book back up. It's in your book.
Behind the front of your binder. There you go.
That could have been terrible. Could have broke my glasses.
I know.
It also, I was going to say that it also is for the evaluation of the executive director, which we'll be doing at some point soon.
Yes.
So this committee will also do that.
All
But
right.
It's still a committee of the whole, so we'll be doing both at the same time. Making recommendation to to the commission and doing it at the same time, so.
That's right. All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, none. The motion carries and that is approved. Would y'all mind if we take a 15-minute break?
I'm thrilled.
I'm having a little bit of hip pain and I kind of need to move around.
And we're glad to have you back.
I appreciate that. We're, if y'all don't mind, we're gonna take a point of comfort for 15 minutes.
No problem at all. I'm thrilled.
A little bit. All right, thank you for commissioners for giving me that little break. I just needed a few minutes to move around. Let's go into new business. Hartley will be next on the agenda with the fiscal year 2022 accountability report.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all having a great day. Thank you for having me. I have some brief updates on the accountability report, which is due today. And I've been working feverishly along with many of my peers and staff here.
I had several people ask me what that was. We weren't sure what the accountability report was or where it went or.
I can give a very, very brief overview. This is legislatively mandated. And basically the purpose of the agency accountability report is for each state agency, regardless of how they're governed, to provide an update to the legislature. So it's really, that's the audience. And basically what we're trying to do in the accountability report is take the opportunity to explain significant events and accomplishments that have occurred at that agency over the course of the fiscal year. So we're reporting on fiscal year 2022, so July 1, 2021 through June 30, 2022. And so we have that opportunity, but then we also report on goals, strategies, and metrics that are agency defined. Usually those are created through a strategic planning process. So as part of my updates, I will say that since we will be embarking on the strategic planning process, hopefully in the fall, we will be likely making some major modifications for the next agency accountability report. But we provide metrics that we want to track at the agency level, right? So they shouldn't be, in the weeds, like at the very, very low program level. It should be agency-wide metrics that we're tracking. And those goals and strategies should be driven, the creation of those should be driven by strategic planning. That's like the whole goal of this report. But what we're trying to do though is to tie what we're doing as an agency to budget items, right? So it's really to show how the funds we're receiving from the state are being utilized to drive the programs and the goals and strategies that we have as an agency. So that's the general overview. Does that help answer questions or provide some clarification? Do y'all have any specific questions?
Commissioners, are y'all good with that? Okay, go ahead.
Let me ask something if you can.
Ask.
You'll recall the commission did in either February or March, after an executive session, we listed some things that our executive director had accomplished this past year, and we were in support of what she's been able to do. I wonder if those 7 or 8 things are incorporated in this report?
I will double check that. So I can pull that from the meeting minutes, and so I will.
That should be incorporated?
Most of them I would bet are, because, I think.
Well, one of them is a monopoly vet policy, one of the greatest things that we did in a long time, to me, other than, of course, fee for service is another one, but I know they are. But I'm just saying, in general, those should be incorporated because we were specifically commending her for those accomplishments, and so they should be in here. Whether they are money related directly or not, it still should be in there. And I am shocked that this is the first time we're going to vote on this report, because I don't remember this report. I never remember voting on this report, and that is a shock to me. It shouldn't be, because nothing should shock me around here. But I appreciate.
I know. Since it's going to the legislature, is the legislative committee, were y'all involved with this process?
No.
We probably in the future should include the legislative committee involvement. And I know this is due today, but when we do the revisions and stuff, we may want to bring the legislative committee and involve their involvement, because they do have connections over there and that kind of thing. So
Sure.
that'd be great.
Barry is on top of his game today.
He is. He's-
Thank you, I try to do that, sir.
You sure?
Poor Harley.
Thank you, I tried.
Okay, Harley, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, it's
We ramble.
absolutely fine. I will absolutely confirm that the accomplishments, significant events, et cetera, that's really the only narrative. Everything else is really, either like one or two sentences or just metrics, basically.
Those should be added.
So I will ensure that the information that you referenced is included in that narrative.
Thank you.
Mhm, absolutely. So the only other updates I have besides it being due today is that, we do have to, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but we do have to utilize the metrics from last year and report on those. However, we are updating the metrics for fiscal year 2023 that I think we're closely aligned with the direction we're going as an agency. And then some of the metrics from the previous year aren't really metrics. So we're really trying to be thoughtful and make sure that they are measurable and meet the criteria as outlined in the guidelines for the agency accountability report from the Department of Administration. So of course, the final report will be sent to commission members, and I'll send it to Commissioner Rawlinson for her approval. Both her and Dr. Fry, as the state director, need to sign off on the submission. And so, as I already stated, though, the strategic planning process will really drive probably significant changes for next year. And we'll ensure that as we move through that process and start thinking about the agency accountability report for fiscal year 2023 will of course include the legislative.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Does anybody have any additional questions? Those are all my updates. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Harley.
Thank you.
All right. Next on our agenda is the legislative budget proposal for 2024 from Miss Nancy Rumble.
Tab 11.
Yep.
Tab 11. And tab 11 is kind of in two parts. You've got your Excel sheet that shows the dollars in a more concise version of our budget request. And then you have a narrative that gives you some more detail on each. We're going to ask for recurring money. 12.4 will be the total cost of this program. But the state portion is 3.7 million. You can see it's total funds, state funds, and then what we can possibly earn in earmark. The middle column is what we will be going to the legislatures for. The earmark column would be what Medicaid money we could earn. As you can see, crisis stabilization is 0. We need to work with HHS to develop some waiver services to be able to bill these to Medicaid and earn some money to help support that.
Right. We talked about that when we built it, when we did it.
The number 2 priority is the Regional Center DSP career path. This is a career path that was previously approved, and we're just asking for some recurring money to help support this. This is for our DSPs 1, 2s, and 3s. The career path, if they work a certain amount of time, they can grow and to the 2, to 3, up to the manager. And so this gives them incentives to stay and help work with us. Number 3 priority is the effort of maintenance. These are requirements that with our contract with HHS, our admin contract, DDSN has got additional oversights of our waiver services throughout the state, level of care, level of need, and risk management, quality assurance. So we're asking for recurring money for that, 1.4 million state. Number 4 is a recurring item, eligibility project team, autism assessments. We are asking for funding for 8 FTE master level autism diagnostic observations schedules, ADOS. It's a mouthful. And the assessment tool. we currently have a lot of autism people that are on our waiting list, waiting to be evaluated. So this is an effort to help work that waiting list to get those people into services.
Magic words. Like that, that's good.
Priority number 5 is also recurring. Autism youth residential rehabilitation. This is the new incentive. We feel like this is something that needs definitely attention. We probably fill 24 beds right now with autism youth. So we're asking for 1.3 million state funds there. Number 6, this is recurring. DDSN has a proviso 36.6 that tells us that we're to maintain the maintenance of our DDSN owned properties. We have 59 homes throughout the state that typically our DSN boards are utilizing and operating, and we're to maintain. So we are going to ask for $5,000 per home per year to help keep the maintenance of those going properly. Number 7 is a non-recurring, and it's called Fmap recovery funds. For the first time since 2008, our Fmap is dropping below 70% for the state of South Carolina. And if you analyze the decrease in that, we will be missing about $8 million in recurring funds in Medicaid. With the drop of that, our state.
Was it dropping? May I ask that question?
Yeah.
Was it dropping?
Well, we have a lot of people moving into the state of South Carolina.
So this is based on federal sort of guidelines? And if we don't, which means the state's better off, but we're worse off because it's a decrease.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Now, the thought process is that maybe in 2 to 3 years, that Fmap will rectify itself and come back up to 70%. So that is why we're asking for non-recurring state appropriations and probably ask for this over the next 3 years, depending on how the economy goes.
So this is not COVID related then? Say again what it's related to, the drop?
It's dropped to 69.3%
From what?
from 70.75.
Oh, so it's dropped 1%.
But it's, that 1% is $8 million.
Yeah, it's critical number at 70%.
It equals up to $8 million. And when, say again, I'm sorry, say again, why did it drop?
Why is it dropping? We are having a lot of people move into South Carolina, which is making our state look wealthier, even though our Medicaid need will still be there. Okay.
So that's based upon population?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, we are having a lot of people move to any place that is on the coast like mine. It's way more traffic. Moving on.
Yes, you can tell. Okay, priority number 8. This is non-recurring, and this is put in for Greenwood Genetics Center. This is the 4th year of their 5-year of the genomic medicine incentive. It's non-recurring. They typically get $2 million a year. That is put in for them. It will be passed through. It is funded straight to Greenwood Genetics. Number 9 is recurring, but this is an appropriation transfer between us and HHS. With the fee-for-service process that we've been through, this current year, our priority number 1 and number 2 was funded. It was for increased waiver services, increasing our rates, and the priority number 2 was to help work with our waiting list. These funds we had to transfer to HHS as one time for this current year. This request will build it in permanently to both HHS and DDSN's base. So you will not see this one again next year. It'll be clean. So overall, if you see the totaling, we're asking for 18.7 million in recurring request. 10 million
New money.
new money.
Okay.
How is this different from the spending plan that we approved last month? Like,
Some
does
of-
it match up? What's the difference of what we're talking about today versus what we spent time
Okay,
on?
well, the differences in the spending plan and what we're talking about today, like with priority number one, we are trying to get that crisis stabilization to stand up this year with the money that we have right now.
Mhm.
Priority number one, it's increasing the number of beds that we're trying to fund. This year, we're trying to do 12 beds in maybe a 4-bed unit.
Right.
But going,
We're paying that out of our money. We're paying that out of DDSN's current money. And what we're saying is, while we're doing that this year, we're not sure that we can sustain that every year at DDSN. So because it's something that was a priority for the legislature and those that ask us to do this, we need them to fund it
Right.
until we
Yeah,
can
I
get the
understand
waiver
we have to
services.
ask
Does that
them
make
for it, but
sense?
I'm trying to understand what we voted on and approved last month in our spending plan.
That was,
Proposal.
that's next, this is for 2024.
And that's for so what, the spending plans regarding fiscal year 23 expenditures,
So we're a year.
and this would be fiscal year 24.
Okay.
This is
Oh, this is fiscal year 24. Okay, all right.
Yeah, yeah.
If
So this
we
is
were to
starting
get
that
these
process again for
funds.
24. Yeah,
then they
this
would-
is a request. This is
Okay.
what we're asking
Got
for.
it. Yep, got it.
this request is due to EBO Friday a week. And then we start our legislative process and our hearings with the governor's office, Senate Finance, Ways and Means. So they will be voting on all of these priorities that we're asking for.
What was our budget request last year?
I guess we had much.
I don't remember off the top of my head how much.
That was my next question. Thank you,
But we
sir.
did, I have it in my book over there because we did receive 100% of what we asked for.
Right. We did receive 100%, but I wonder how many millions we asked for new.
If you want to pull that number, I can quickly comment that last year, the request was less driven around strategies regarding the needs that we recognize in the South Carolina landscape. So there were monies, I think approximately 7 million, that would regard the increase with IDRD, because we knew with the new waiver, the increase in breadth and scope of the IDRD waiver, there would be increases. So we had a request for 7 million. We didn't have things related to salary increases or programmatic pieces such as the youth residential habilitation homes or the crisis stabilization. It was a more functional.
Yeah. These are things that needed to be
Status quo
addressed for
budget.
years that we haven't addressed. We need some support from the legislature in order to make those. They are needed programs. I mean, that we've talked about them. Y'all know the need. We saw the need today. You know, these are things we've got to address. And right now, we're not serving the autism community at all. And that's a huge problem. I mean, you know, we've got to grab those problems and try to get some solutions to those issues and try to serve that community. I mean, you know, in talking with our elected officials, they believe that any person with a disability in South Carolina should be served. That includes children, that includes, and the DDSN needs to be serving them. And in order to do that, we're going to have to back that up with some requests for funding to do that. Is that okay?
We had 1.5 million that was being debated, the budget reconciliation. What happened to that? I lost that one.
We got approved.
We had that approved. So what you see here is we've said, we're so grateful, thank you. We would like to expand that. So because we
we believe that those monies could result in 3 to 4 youth rehabilitation homes, but we recognize that there is probably increased need beyond that. So we're asking for, and those were one-time dollars, so these are recurring dollars. Same initiative, but asking for recurring support and
To run the program.
expansion.
Yes.
Run the program.
Yes.
Yeah. What are you trying to
We
say?
used that 1.5 to establish a home already for a certain number of individuals?
We have to work on the qualifications,
That's what we're doing
so
today.
that comes next after the residential policy that was just approved. The next step will be provider qualifications, and one type of provider qualification would be for the youth rehabilitation homes. And we are working on that in a collaborative, multi-agency way.
That makes sense?
And technically, we haven't received any of our non-recurring funds yet that we were given.
Okay.
We should be getting those very soon.
Promise, yeah. Claim to receipt.
Promise.
The checks and the money.
The checks in the mail.
The last thing is, yeah. So how much did we ask for last year? It's 18 this year. What is it? New money that last year?
We asked for recurring money around 10.4 million, and we received all of it.
This year we're asking for 18.
I think I think what we're asking for this year is so much more effective in serving those and helping those we serve.
It is more important, it isn't very much better, but I'm just speaking of numbers here.
Yep.
A big number. It's a big number.
Yes, it is.
We have big ideas that we want to
That's right.
address and issues we need to address. And this costs money to take care of people that are
Yeah.
like Willie.
The high needs, that's something I think that we struggle with in this state is, we've got folks that are at different levels of need. And while we can easily serve those at a moderate to lower level need, when it goes above that is where our providers struggle, we struggle in serving those folks. Because there's not there's a profit margin that they're looking for in those healthcare facilities. And I think that's something that we've got to cross that barrier and bridge that gap and figure out how to serve those people, because they aren't being served.
And we have to give incentive to providers,
to do it.
private or otherwise, that are willing to do it.
Yeah.
And right now, we don't have, that incentive is not there for enough providers.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, they just flat don't want to provide it, the service.
I just don't know that they financially, I don't know if they don't want to. I think that it's financially not beneficial for them because it's so expensive. I mean, if you look at what it costs to hire, these behavior analysts and what it costs to hire a psychologist or a psychiatrist, those are expensive those are high expense employees. And most normal businesses or providers would struggle to be able to hire that level of employee to serve those people appropriately.
I think the memorandum that we provided to the commission this summer when we first asked for approval for crisis stabilization did a good job of articulating how even the highest rate does not contemplate the staffing model that is required to serve individuals who would be supported in crisis stabilization. So,
yeah. Okay. What else, Ms. Dixie? You need a vote? Okay.
may I ask one comment?
Yes, please.
Just one, if it's my understanding, I believe HHS will be submitting as part of their budget a couple of provisos that might mention DDSN, specifically around autism and dual diagnosis. So if it is the will of the commission, we would like, while it is not articulated here, if HHS shares with us that language, that we would be able to echo that language in our submission to the UBO.
Do y'all understand what she's saying? HHS is trying to put together a collaboration, maybe between us and other agencies, to provide specific services. And we want to be able to join that collaboration and say, hey, we want to be part of this. It's providing services, needed services that we've talked about in the past. I mean, it's things that autism and mental health and that kind of thing. And they're wanting to put together some collaborations. So
I was just asking if we see that language that they are working on prior to our submission, we would like to mirror it in our submission as well.
so that we're in support of that as well.
We can so move that.
Yeah.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. Questions? All right, all in favor,
Did we make
signify
the
by saying
motion
aye.
though? Did we actually make the motion?
Dave, you did.
Ed just.
Ed motioned what she said.
Oh, I said.
Basically, she said what
She
you
can't.
said.
She asked, she basically told us what we needed. She wanted,
Should we actually do that differently, or is that?
She was gonna do it in collaboration with the other one, but we just did it separate this time.
Okay, gotcha. Just making sure.
We're doing fine.
Okay,
We just did it separately. Now we're gonna do this, what she's up here to do,
yeah.
which we just circumvented her, but it's all right. Because she works for the lady she circumvented. Everything is fine.
Is there anything else?
She didn't circumvent. She amended. She amended. She didn't circumvent.
All right, go ahead, Dave. Do we need a motion to approve yours?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Somebody?
Move, so move.
We have a motion to approve, second, anywhere?
Second.
Second, motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed? Ayes have it, it's approved.
I just want to thank Dr. Fry and Hurley and Lori and Janet for helping me build this. Without team effort, it wouldn't be the good product that it is today.
We appreciate you, Nancy. I know you've been working very hard for us in the interim. And I want to take an opportunity just to tell you thank you.
Well, thank you.
We know you've worked very hard and we do appreciate you. We appreciate what you do for us.
And by the way, for the record, how many years have you been with the agency?
46.
You
Wow.
started when you were 2?
Yes, I did.
I had no idea you've been here 46 years.
I'm a working retiree.
Wow.
For your
Well, you-
commitment and service.
Yes, we appreciate you.
And knowledge and expertise and
So that means whenever you get,
patience and all the things that you have to have to be somewhere.
so that means whenever you get fed up,
Don't
you're
leave.
done. That means you can walk out the door anytime you want.
No, there's a song called Don't
She
Leave.
hasn't.
We don't
Don't give her
want
any
you to.
ideas yet. Don't give her any ideas
Don't
yet.
give any ideas. The song is Don't Leave.
Well, Nancy,
Eventually I have to.
Of course you do.
Nancy, we appreciate
Not now.
You deserve it when
And,
you do, for sure.
we appreciate it.
Yeah, 46
Robin
years is
has
a long
had
time.
very complimentary things to tell me about her work with you. Dr. Michelle Woodhead also called me and said, hey, Nancy is just doing a phenomenal job. So I just wanted to pass that along to you and tell you how much we appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Now you go on to the next topic, the financial update.
Yes, so this is the financial update through August 31st of our spending plan for 23. Of our spending plan, it's 938.5 million. Today, we have spent a total of 140.2, which is 14.94% of our spending plan, which puts us at 1.73% under budget at this point.
All right, I have a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve what's been
We
presented.
have a
today.
motion, second on the floor.
Second.
The motion is second. All in favor of approving the spending plan or the financial update, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. All right, the ayes have it and that is approved. Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate it. All right, director's update, Dr. Fry.
Just want to highlight that this is Direct Support Professionals Appreciation Week, and there have been numerous activities across the regional centers to show thanks for our hardworking DSPs. They have been having ice cream socials, scavenger hunts, special treats, cookouts, giveaways, and prizes. We can't express our gratitude enough.
Ice cream socials?
I know, we need to get on that.
We weren't invited to these. I wonder if we could be put on the,
On the invitation list?
And then I just want to highlight a few things for October. You all likely already know, but October is Disability Employment Awareness Month. And we'll be highlighting success stories through articles, social media, and videos about employment success stories from across South Carolina. We have a number of activities planned at central office. And of course, we'll have topics at the commission meeting in October related to this. And want to highlight that Susan and Becky are presenting 2 sessions at the AAIDD conference with practical sessions and tools to promote employment and day services. We are always so grateful for those 2. They are fantastic. And also in October, we have a couple of events I want to highlight for the state fair. I've mentioned at least one of these before, but on October 13th, we'll be hosting a sensory-friendly morning at the fairgrounds. The lights and sounds will be lowered between 10 a.m. and noon on October 13th during the state fair's first ever sensory-friendly also, on October 20th, sorry, I'm out of order here. My sheet's out of order, I apologize. On October 20th, DDS and the South Carolina State Fair will be hosting an Exceptional Citizens Day at the fairgrounds, and all people with lifelong intellectual or physical disability will be admitted free to the fair. So I want to highlight PJ's great outreach efforts and working on these. We think it's going to be a great opportunity.
Okay.
Last, I'll highlight that we are in the process of working with Camp Cole, a fully accessible camp and retreat facility located just outside of Columbia, on supporting and providing programming to enrich the lives of their campers.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Anything else? Okay. Commissioners, as you know, we have committed to once a quarter traveling for our meeting and traveling into the district so that we can better have communication with those we serve. Next month is the October meeting, will be held on October the 20th, 2022 at 10 a.m. We will be meeting at the Dorchester County Council Chambers. That's at 500 North Main Street in Summerville, South Carolina. That meeting will be from 10 to 12. And I do want to emphasize we are not going to have public input during the meeting portion of that meeting. That will be a business meeting only, because we will come back, we will take a lunch break from 12 to 1, and then we will come back from 1 to 2:30 for a public listening session there in the council chambers. So please encourage the folks down in that area to come talk to us and let us hear their concerns or their ideas or suggestions during that period of time. There will be a set of rules for that public input for that listening session. If I'm not mistaken, Commissioner, someone tell me, the last time we did it, we limited it to 5 minutes per person at the list. Was it 10 minutes per person at the listening session? All right, well, we'll limit it to 10 minutes per person at the listening session, and there will be no extensions after that 10-minute period of time. But we hope that everyone, and obviously they can go shorter than that if they choose to, but we will do that for our listening session instead of doing public input in our meeting.
We could say we prefer they go shorter if they could concise their comment.
That's right. And I do want to emphasize, after that, we will be touring the Coastal Center. And so we'll look forward to having you all with us to tour Coastal after that. If you are going to need hotel reservations, please make sure Christy is aware of that so that she knows to go ahead and book your room for that before that event. Okay. Here is I believe that's all the information on our agenda. Commissioners, I'm going to ask that we go into executive session. Do I have a motion to do so?
So moved.
Motion, do I second? Second the motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All right, we're gonna head into executive session. All right, good afternoon. We're rising up out of executive session. We had a productive conversation, but no votes were taken and no decisions were made. Is there any further business that needs to come before this commission?
Make a motion, Madam Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I move that the commission request of the agency head salary commission, an increase in our executive director's pay range in the salary range from its low of where it is now to the highest that it can be obtained under the salary range as designated by, I suppose, regulation.
Okay.
That's my motion.
All right, we have a motion.
Second.
Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right,
Was that passed?
it does pass. We appreciate that. I will document that letter and get that to them.
And I have a second motion.
Okay.
That the DDSN commission ask of the agency head salary commission, according to its regulations or rules, to conduct a study allowing the agency head salary commission to determine a possible higher number based on qualifications of the executive director of DDSN, South Carolina Department of Disability Special Needs, concerning the salary range.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries, and we will move forward with that. And I'll, Chrissy and Elizabeth in HR will assist me in getting those letters and those documentations out.
That concludes.
Thank you. All right, is there any further business?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn and a second.
Mary Melford.
Thank you all for being with us today, and so we stand in adjournment until next month in Charleston.